Hello, Dave Fries here. I'd like to talk a little bit today about the process that we call enhanced estate planning. A lot of people will prepare wills, trusts, durable powers of attorney, living wills for you, and a lot of clients want them done without the full context. And it is possible to do those documents, and often they will work correctly. However, it's also often the case that without going through the entire process of enhanced estate planning, that simple things such as the way that assets are titled can cause the plan to function in a way that you didn't expect. I'll give you a real life example. It was recently reported in the New York Times that a process was being used to check on this enhanced estate planning and how assets were titled versus the document. The person had gone to a great deal of trouble to prepare a will that said exactly what they wanted it to say. However, when an analysis was done of their assets, it turned out that that will would only pass on maybe 2 to 5% of the assets. How were the rest being passed on? They were being passed on through beneficiary designations, joint accounts, and a variety of other ways that were not necessarily consistent with the will and would not have generated the savings in federal estate tax or the protection for heirs from divorce that a properly executed enhanced estate plan can do. So it's important to go through this process, and I'm going to describe it a little bit, and I'm going to break it down into 3 sections. We're going to talk about estate planning at an enhanced level. What is it? In the second installment of this blog, we're going to talk about why we should do it. And in the third installment of this blog, we're going to go through the process. What happens when you start that process with me or with Doug or with one of the attorneys in the firm, and how it differs a little bit from what many conventional firms do for you, and why it's so important to do it properly and to get the benefit of the enhanced estate planning. But enhanced estate planning is not simply about saving additional federal estate taxes. It's not simply about saving Pennsylvania inheritance taxes. It's not simply about protecting your heirs. When we do enhanced estate planning, we make sure that all of the documents hold together and that they work to carry out your wishes. The enhanced estate plan focuses on what you want to do during your lifetime and balances it with your death planning. It also focuses on how you want to protect your heirs. A lot of times people will say to me, well, if they do away with the federal estate tax, we won't need that trust. But many of my clients would still want many of the trusts they have in place, even though they no longer get any tax benefit. Why? Well, for example, if you leave all of your assets outright to a spouse and that spouse remarries and there's a divorce, those assets could be taken away. If there's a car accident or a lawsuit or a business goes bad and there's litigation, those assets could be taken away. By placing them in the right kind of trust, you can give the surviving spouse full use of those assets and even the ability to participate in their investment and make lots of important decisions while protecting them from that situation. What about, clients ask me sometimes, can I protect my children? And it used to be lawyers would say, well, it's pretty much a choice. You either put assets in trust and let someone run them for your children, or you give them to your children and you run the risk that they'll be sued or divorced and those assets will be taken away. However, in modern and enhanced estate planning, there are specific kind of trusts that can be used to give your children very, very broad use of the assets, very broad control over the co-trustee that they have, and the ability to protect them not just from taxes but also from lawsuits and from litigation and oftentimes from divorce. And we have a 52% divorce rate in this country. But estate planning shouldn't end there, and an enhanced estate planning does not. One of the things that you'll find is that as you go through life, you'll give your children and your grandchildren additional information about things that you've learned in your life and that are important to them. For example, you might teach a 6-year-old child how to put money in a piggy bank and how to begin saving. But you're not going to teach that child about how that you do investing and how you build businesses and how you get along with people and all sorts of important information that will allow your heirs to build their own businesses, to build their own wealth, to build their own investment process that will result in perpetuating wealth. Enhanced estate planning allows us to think about those things that we want to pass on to our children and our grandchildren and that we haven't yet done. It allows us to perpetuate them through video, through a variety of processes. It could be audio recording. It can be as simple as memoranda that allow us to tell the trustees, the guardians, and our surviving heirs what's important to us. What's important to us about our grandchildren's education, our children's education. What's important to us about what they need to know about business. What's important to us. What have we learned that we haven't had the chance to pass on yet because maybe that child or grandchild is not at an appropriate age to learn it. We could create a delivery system to get that information to the people that are taking care of children or grandchildren in the meantime, and ultimately to our heirs at appropriate ages. That is a really enhanced estate planning program. If it sounds hard or expensive, it need not be either. We can guide you through this process relatively easily, and often people find that the process is no more expensive than what they've been quoted for an ordinary sort of estate plan, where just a few simple documents are prepared for them. Now, this isn't the type of will, this isn't the type of document you're going to get from a general practice attorney. It is a little bit more complicated process, and it is a little bit more expensive. But if you're concerned about balancing your life with your death planning, if you're concerned about taxes, if you're concerned about litigation, if you're concerned about protecting your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, or any of your heirs, then you want to make sure that you go through an enhanced estate planning program and an enhanced estate planning process. That is what we have for you. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why you should do it in the next blog entry, and then finally we will go through in some detail how you do it. I look forward to seeing you and talking more about it. If you have the chance, please make sure that you leave us a comment. Please feel free in those comments to ask us any questions, and please feel free to call 610-933-8069 if you'd like more information, or visit our website www.utbf.com/trust-estate or www.paestateplanners.com. These websites have lots of additional information, but feel free to call anytime. Thank you very much.